Hey everyone, Tactics here with video 6 of my Advanced Tormented Route series, this time discussing Sanguine depths. Just like with my previous videos in this series, in my advanced routes, I'm not holding back when it comes to things like skips, having a coordinated group for certain pulls, and sometimes even having certain compositional requirements. So if you're looking for something simpler and easier to execute, I would recommend checking out my simple routes video, great for pugging or if you're aiming to get KSM, and I'll link that down below or over on my channel. With all that said, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you learned something, and let's get started. So, right off the bat here, we go very big, triple pull, and we drag this on top of this initial urn here, and we pop Lust. This is an incarn pull, though I think a decent number of tanks may be able to pull this off. Like, I think Brewmaster Monk can probably pull this off. Demon Hunter can pull this off for sure. Probably even Prot Warrior as well. It does get a little bit scary for those other tanks. Incarn makes this pull very safe. And basically what we do here is you have the pathway right down this area here, and there's a carpet, and what we do is we have the tank stay on the left side of that carpet to bait the frontal attacks, whereas all the melee and everyone else stands on the right side of the carpet so that they're never in danger of getting hit by that frontal attack. The only other thing is to try and stop the skirmishers from you doing their spawning their animated weapons, because those can be a bunch of extra damage that you want to try and avoid. So that's always something you want to try and be aware of. But other than that, you're just trying to get all these guys down inside this urn here to get your 10 stack. From there, we actually run forward and we shroud through this area here, skip everything here. There are some pulls where you pull like this 3-pack with this big guy and this tick. We found time-wise, we like pulling all this together and then skipping these smaller guys, and we go right through. We pull Arcolith back to this area. We have found if you pull him too close to this edge, like if you pull him right here, not only could this padding brute walk into you, but these two things are fighting and they're in combat. So if you do something like Convoke and you're in range of them, Convoke spells will actually shoot towards them. We found that out the hard way. So yeah, just make sure you pull them out decent enough, and it doesn't matter whether this is Arcolith, whether this is Varuth, because this is another one of those dungeons where the two guys you're rushing are tied together, Arcolith and Varuth, and then Oros and Sogadon are also tied together. And this is actually a dungeon where you can't skip any of the lieutenants, because the main ones you would skip, Oros and Sogadon, cause a lot of problems in the last boss. Sogadon buffs physical damage, which includes that call bleed, so very deadly there. And Oros, of course, makes it very hard to dodge the slows or dodge the bleed itself. Not the slows, sorry, dodge the beams that come across the platform, or the bleed itself, because of course you can dodge that if you're moving fast enough. So both of them are just kind of bad news for this last boss, so you just have to kill them both. Moving on here, we do these pulls separately. You can do these together depending on your group comp. So things like Boomkin, things like Vengeance Demon Hunter, things like Shaman with the AoE stun, those things all make pulling this together much easier, because if you don't have access to those AoE stops and a lot of AoE stops in your group, you're dealing with 5 gluttonous ticks here, right? Which is, it's very hard to deal with. For our group, we don't have access to those kinds of things, so we have to pull these groups separately. But it is an option, and especially on fortified weeks, if you have those AoE stops, you could double pull this in Lust here. That's definitely a really good option on fortified weeks. Moving upwards here, we just have the first boss. Nothing too special here. We have one person assigned to soaking orbs when the healer says it's okay. And we do soak the first 2 to 3 sets of orbs with just staggering healer CDs and defensives, and then when the boss is like 20% or less, we start ignoring orbs and we just kind of try and stack them up on one side, or like pixel stack them, so that we can kite down, and worst case we can kite back past them if they're all close together in one area. From there, boss is dead. We do commit Lust here, actually. Sorry, just a note on tyrannical and fortified weeks, because we're not doing this big pull on fortified weeks, so we commit Lust onto the boss here just to make it a little bit quicker. It's a decent time save. But then we move up here. We just pull these two with these sprites here, and then we move up and we pull this Chamber Sentinel with this group here. This is another pull where like you could actually do something like this instead. if you had access to more AoE stops. Like I said, like if you're capable of doing this double pull here, you're definitely capable of doing this pull as well with the AoE silences, AoE stuns, AoE stops in general. This pull becomes a lot safer as well because there's just so many casters in this pack, so you want to be very, very careful. Otherwise though, we just do this, pull the sprites into this one. A lot of people save these sprites for this urn here, and they skip like these two things that we're pulling over here. We find, at least for our group, we don't mind killing this stuff on the urn. So I'll explain that in a second here though. Let me put this back together. We do Oros after this. Then we do the 3-pack here. We do not activate the urn here. Urn is not activated. We then drag this 3-pack on top of this urn, and we activate the urn just before these 3 die. And then we LOS right here in this little alcove. And I go up, I'm the tank, I grab all this stuff, and we LOS back here. And we have a Ring of Frost here to get them all stacked up, and then we just nuke them down and get our 10 stack here. I believe it's a 10 stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's exactly a 10 stack with this. From there, we shroud through, and we actually play this mini-boss, Baruth or Arcolith, whichever it is, with the actual mini-boss Javelin in this room. Because we have a big 10 stack, because we have a bunch of cooldowns up, we just absolutely blast the Lieutenant first, and then the mini-boss guy. So kill them all. You will lose your 10 stack here. So the routing has kind of changed from Season 1 to Season 2, whereas like in Season 1, you were like extending this 10 stack by killing the Prideful on it, and then running through here and just trying your best to extend it ASAP. I think the play in this is to try and get that 10 stack for this second boss here, because he's very scary on both high fortified and tyrannical, right? He's super, super scary. And to get it consistently onto him, we've found that it's actually better to let your first 10 stack here on this on number 2 urn time out, and then rebuild it on these 3rd and 4th urns, so that you can have a full 10 stack going into this boss with a Bloodlust. To do that, we have to do some weird things. So after this scary pull with the 10 stack, it runs out. We take this 3-pack, put it on top of the urn, and we will activate this urn again, similar to this urn over here. We wait until this 3-pack is almost dead, and then activate the urn. So we have the maximum amount of time to deal with this next pack here. One note, this pat can be a little spooky. You will need some sort of CC if it comes too close to you, because they will walk up like right beside this pack here. You need to be a little bit careful depending on your timing. You only need to CC the front scribe. That'll stop the entire pat here. So freezing, trap, hex, polymorph, anything like that will work. You just make sure you CC it before it gets too close to this pack, if it's coming towards you then. What we do after this 3-pack is killed and activates, so we grab this pack here in, just make sure we have some kick for the Quill, and then we actually have our Rogue at the same time grab this 3-pack over here and misdirect it to me and run back, and we just have one range kick ready to hit the Quill and a knockback ready to knock in the Scribe, so that we can get a total of 9 stacks on this urn right here. Killing that, the urn will shortly expire, and we move all the way across over here. We kill this first pack without the urn. So we do this so that we can just do an easy refresh on this Quill here. Quills have very, very low HP. They're very easy to kill. They're also very dangerous with their casts. You want to make sure you kick it and kill it ASAP. So we run across here. We do this 4-pack. This is the Pat, and this is the guy in the cage there. So you grab them, kill them. Then we grab this pack here. This gargoyle may not be here, right? This gargoyle could be up here, and it could be down here as well. It doesn't matter where this gargoyle is. It doesn't really change anything at all. You just pull him wherever he is. And then for this pack here, very important, you get them a range kick on this Quill ASAP, drag it on top of the urn, have that urn open, and extend ASAP with that Quill death, because that'll be very close to your thing timing out. If you're able to get that extend, that's that 10th stack. You can blast through this pack as well by dragging it all the way back on top of the urn. Get at least one refresh from maybe the scribe here who has, or the remnant who have very, very low health. Maybe not refresh for the warden, but it's not the end of the world, because you're going to have a near full 10 stack buff going into this boss with Bloodlust, and he just absolutely melts. Bloodlust, all cooldowns, 10 stacks. It makes this boss so much easier, especially on higher keys. So I would definitely recommend doing that if your group has the coordination to pull off all these pulls and extend your buff and time. Obviously, this gets very scary if you start pulling more than you wanted, right? You accidentally get this pack, your timings are off, you may not get the refresh in, you may have to pull this pack without any earn up at all, right? It gets a little scary, so it's a little tough to execute, but if you can do it, it's definitely worthwhile in my opinion. The boss itself, not much to talk about here. Hard focus the ad when it's up. We have a very good comp for this, actually. Things like Vanish, things like Invis, things like Cloak, things like Ice Block, things like Spell Reflect. They all work and basically entirely mitigate the damage from this guy's big individual hit. And so that's very good for our comp. Not every comp has that. This guy isn't actually extremely dangerous in terms of the individual damage. The scary part is dealing with the ads. So we want to make sure you just kill that guy and kill those ads ASAP. From here, we have another big pull. Right, we're doing the big cage here, and then you have the Pat, and then you have the gargoyle wherever he was. And we kill this all together. This is another incarn pull if you haven't noticed. I'm sure you can tell, like, this is an incarn pull. Some of these bigger pulls are incarn pulls. And we just kill all this stuff right after the boss, and we're good to head down. The threshold here, I believe we're over by like 0.8%. So the threshold here is 74.7%. If you are at 70, let's round up to say 75, because this goes to 75.5. If you're at 75% before you jump down, you are good for this specific route. 75% is your magic number there. So we jump down after that. Kill these three over here, and then we kill these two with the mini-boss, because the mini-boss has been moved. The mini-boss is now right here. It was moved this week, actually, because a lot of people were snapping this guy up top, and I guess Blizzard didn't want that, so they put him before the third boss, and now he's down here. You can't snap him, he's just out of range. Maybe extended range, we haven't tested as much, but when he was here, you could snap him up every time, so that was very helpful. You could actually use him to get that 10th stack up here, but now you cannot, so it is what it is. Anyways, though, we'll pull this guy, Soggodon or Oros, with this 2-pack here. It's not a big deal at all. We'll kill them, and then we go right into the boss, and this is a pretty spooky boss. Actually, no, this boss isn't even in the pulls. Let me add him in right after. This is a pretty spooky boss, especially on Tyrannical Week, just because there is so much damage going out. What we tend to do is we tend to alternate the big defensives on like individual defensives, like immunities, like Cloak of Shadows, like our Ice Block, things like that, so that people can eat less orbs, or one person can eat less orbs so that other people can eat more. Specifically, like it gives our priest, who doesn't have a ton of defensive options, the ability to eat like 4 orbs every time, which is very good. As the tank, I'm only eating like 1 orb, maybe 2, depending on if we're immunity or not, and I'm still good. And so that's just what we have worked out for this. You may want to do that as well, to have your squishier members, if you have any super squishy members, eat an orb extra, and maybe have your tankier members eat an orb less, if you're able to do this. But that's what we do, and it works pretty well. From here, we move up. Just this 1-pack, we LOS it back here so it all groups up nicely. Kill that down quickly, and then we're shrouding again past the 3-pack, because it's just a bad news 3-pack. 3 of these spookier mobs in the entire dungeon all together in 1 pack. I will hard pass, thank you. And then we go to the Gauntlet, which is very, very interesting. So the Gauntlet does kind of change depending on how quickly you're able to get the pack down and how quickly you're able to kill Call. So what we tend to do is immediately off the top, we're pulling these guys all together here with, this is an incarn pull, and we're killing Call. As soon as this pack is dead, Call is normally still at like 93%-ish. So we chain it into this pack here. So mid pull here, Call will go down to 90. He'll reset to be right here, and his aggro will reset, so be careful. And we have our raid kind of cheat into this corner here. And when this stuff gets low, we can activate this urn with Call, and then also LOS pull these guys into this area, get a nice 10 stack, and just keep extending it with the Gargans. We just keep using the Gargans to extend it. 10 stack, 10 stack, 10 stack. Call will go down with that 10 stack, and then we can immediately run with a full 10 stack that we refreshed with the Gargans here and do another double pull with the 10 stack and just blast through this really, really fast. And that's a super nice thing about the positioning of this one. You get the 10 stack to go through 2 sets of Cull's health, so you're able to blast through this gauntlet so quickly. And then similar here, just another LOS pull we do around this edge here. Pull all this stuff, kill it down. That should be your percent. If you missed anything, there are bats here that you can grab just flying through this hall here. So if you need the extra percent or two, you miss something maybe, don't worry, you can grab a bat here and be okay. And then we just move into the boss here, Lust, all CDs, and we just nuke them down. In terms of dodging the bleeds, both people are able to dodge the bleed. So whether you're first or second, you're able to dodge. The first person has it a little rougher, so it's much easier if they have some sort of dash or blink or something like that to dodge. But the second person doesn't need anything. If they're moving in like a single direction away from the dash, you will dodge it like every time. You don't even need a move speed increase. You can just run straight out of it if you're moving correctly. And that just mitigates a absolute ton of damage on this boss if like only half of your people are getting hit by bleeds, or even if sometimes no people get hit by bleeds. So it's just a great help for your healer, who will definitely be happy if people are dodging that bleed effect. But there we have it. That's my advanced route for Sanguine Depths. Remember guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Mythic Plus content. If you have any questions at all regarding this route, the dungeon itself, or even maybe Mythic Plus or tanking in general, feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can come stop by my Twitch channel at Tactics and I will do my best to answer. That's all for me though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.